this is literally going to be so late. I said it too, like, in the November video that I'm literally posting tonight. That November's going to be posted late, and December is probably going to be posted late too. But this is my December wrap up. I've done like a whole year of this. That's kind of cool. I'm in like Christmassy PJs for this video, and you can kind of see like I have like new hair and new glasses. I even got a nose piercing. So I guess like 2026 will be fun. Okay, so basically, here's what's gonna happen. I did not, just like I said in the November video, I did not really get to read a lot this month. This month was just like a lot. I feel like a lot of people just deal with stuff in the holiday season, and this one was really rough. And so if you can kind of see a little bit behind me over here, I am packing, and I'm about to go for like a month to Canada. So this is how we deal with things like grief and trauma, is just, let's go. So this is like a very impromptu. I don't have like a script. I don't have anything like that. I literally only have like 3 books that I read in December, and then like some comics for the podcast that I talked about. And I'll plug that when I talk about the comics. But yeah, I'm just gonna like hop into it because I'm catching a plane tomorrow and I wanted to get this like filmed. So yeah, the first thing that I read in December was BK Borison's Lovelight Farms. Now, don't get me wrong, it was cute. It was just, I think something that like I always have an issue with when it comes to romance in general is like a lot of them are very like cookie cutter, and so nothing really feels groundbreaking. So like Mallory Merlot, for instance, I feel like a lot of her stuff like sets it apart from like the normal cut and paste, and same with Hannah Bonham Young. I really love those 2 romance authors a lot. But this sadly it just was very run of the mill. Like if you're just wanting like a cute, quick Christmassy vibe, like it works. It's just, I feel like in some parts it was slow. It just, it was fine. It was a fine book. I love how they utilize the side characters. At least that's like a big thing for me in romances. I feel like you will get side characters, but then like they like go to the wayside like halfway through, and you never hear from them, and then it's like, well, what was the point? You could just had like 2 characters, My main issue with this book, and the reason why it got rated so low for me, for anyone like who like follows me on Pagebound, you could literally see my reviews. So yeah, I rated it pretty low because this book pretty much at the end, like that was my issue, is like I'm not a third act breakup miscommunication type girly, and then this like really just tanked the overall impression and enjoyment of this book for me, because like it didn't feel necessary to the plot. It felt honestly shoehorned just to have that third act breakup that so many people do anymore with their books. And it just, for me personally, it just ruined it and made it very meh. One book though that I did really enjoy this month, it's one that I've been wanting to read for a while, and it's just, you know how you just, it takes a while to get around to everything, especially, I mean, you can see behind me, I've got like a bunch of books. A lot of those have still not been read. I'm trying to get through them on top of like new stuff that comes out too, but one that I've been wanting to read, and I will be reading the sequel to this. I think there is only 2 in the series, but it's Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. It was such a deeply moving read, especially with like the current times, and this story, even though it's from 1993, it is set in 2024, and it rings so horrifically similar to like our world today in so many ways. And like, yes, it's like a dystopian backdrop of the story, but we truly are like a step or 2 away from like what this book really shows and holds. And for me, with someone with like religious trauma and things like that, the religious undertones of this book especially really like grip you, and this is a story that will like gut punch you, honestly, but at the same time you kind of have like this soft hope that something good will come of it all. And like I said, I'm very eager for the next installment to see like where this story went. And like I said, it was wrote in 1993, so I'm sure if I looked it up I would get spoiled very quickly, but I'm not one of those people who like get cranky over spoilers, like, speaking of spoilers, if you've read The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, you'll probably understand why this book was just very for me. Again, I know it's very low coded, and I will say it every time. Anytime a book is very low coded, I'm going to probably give it a try, unless it's like an author that's like, on my like meh list. But so like again, it wasn't bad. It just didn't wow me. I saw the like twist, so to speak, coming like probably like the second, third chapter, like not chapter, because like basically like when things go, because like I said, I don't want to be a spoiler. I'm trying really hard for this channel not to be a spoiler thing, but like when you get to like a portion of it that's kind of like the crux of the whole story, you kind of know how the ending is going to go. But like my issue too with that is with the like twist, and the twist itself is kind of like a conflict in it. It's like the literal last like 5%. So for me, I felt like at that point, it just really kind of drops my interest in this book specifically, because we're so close to the end. We've kind of like wrapped it up, so to speak, and like you feel like it's getting to that point, and then like conflict. We have to have this weird conflict that really like next chapter is like fixed and there's no issue, and just I feel like it was kind of pointless, especially knowing that this is a book that is very much like a happily ever after type, and going in it's going to be a happily ever type. So when it does that, you're just kind of like, I could have kind of dealt without, the like random like conflict that's not really even a problem. But yeah, that was like all the books I read, and that was this is a month I didn't have any DNFs, because like I said, it was very short. Again, I read like 9 or so. I'd have to count them out, but like I read a good amount of like comics this month too for the podcast, the 90s Never Happened podcast with myself, Daniel Agan, and Bryn Rose. You can listen to it anywhere the podcasts are available, I'm pretty certain. But yeah, like basically we're still reading the Maximum Carnage series, like I talked about in the other November wrap up. And yeah, like I said, read more of those. I think, like I said, I'm going to Canada in January for like 3 weeks, like more closer to like a month. So I will be on hiatus from the podcast, and they will be having guests in. So when I get back, we will, if I'm not mistaken, be finishing the Maximum Carnage series. So yeah, if you're into stuff like that, like Marvel and so on, it's not just Maximum Chaos / Spiderman that we're reading. It's just like the first story. We'll be reading like other things, and I'm like super excited for like X-Men stuff. I'm an X-Men girly. So yeah, that was my December wrap up. Short, sweet, to the point, and now I gotta finish packing and get on a plane. So thanks, bye.